Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports. We hope that you guys are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. If you just watched us on the Ruffino and Joe show, we are live back-to-back, starting a little bit late on the AYS side of things. But it's going well. It's going good. We talked a lot of SEC and national championship in the Ruffino and Joe show earlier. So if you missed it at the end of this one, go watch that one. A lot of content being produced here on this platform of AYS Sports. So it's going great, going well. We got a lot that we have to talk about here tonight. Ruffino's rants, why I think LSU can work themselves into a top 5 team going into next year. There are going to be things that LSU is going to accomplish and do in the transfer portal, or at least attempt to. And if they land these specific key pieces, I think LSU will get in the top 5 because they're just adding too much quality depth. We'll touch on that. Also, portal update, guys like Justin Rogers from Kentucky is in town. A lot of people asking about Jordan Birch. I don't know about that. I don't think LSU sits too good on that one just yet. So I'll answer all your questions. So if you have thoughts, have questions, have concerns in that portal update, you can fire them inside the Rudy Crew chat, and we'll get to as many questions as we can. LSU basketball preview as LSU takes on, I believe, A&M. I lost my page fell down. My notes fell down. I got to get them here in the break. But if I'm not mistaken, play A&M this upcoming Saturday. LSU is coming off a loss to Kentucky. They are 12-2. We'll touch on that. I did talk about this a lot. I'll bring Pooh Bear and Zach into this segment probably about 40 minutes from now. I'll give them the platform to talk about the Dogs and the Frogs. Who do they believe is going to win in the national title game? Because I talked about a lot. Again, go watch the Ruffino and Joe show. If you want to catch that content, get their thoughts on that. And as we do every Tuesdays and Thursdays, hashtag Ask Blake. So you got questions, thoughts, and concerns, you just hit them up right here. Let's get to a couple comments, though, before we get rolling. Holden Lee says, Blake, I saw that Tolan comments about Auburn. Did something happen with LSU behind the scenes? Look, when you see a kid go into the portal and then he's immediately somewhere else, I think you know what's going on, right? Like, I think you guys are smart enough to know what's going on. Like, you're not a fool. You're not a fool. So, come on. You know what's happening. Jerry Zimmerman said TCU did match Michigan's physicality. That's true. But ultimately won because of Michigan's mistakes. GA ain't too prone to making mistakes. I agree with that. I 1,000% agree with that. LSU through and through says go Tigers on YouTube. Love it. Molly O says howdy Blake. Howdy Molly. Stephen Fry, our good man over at Fry Construction. Site and whole land development, oil and gas services, commercial construction, aggregate and soil hauling, waste containers and demolition. They do it all. Go see them at 161 West Maple Street in Eunice, Louisiana, or give them a call at 337-457-5100. Let them know that Blake sent you on by. But he says it's time for the Portal King to go to work. Which one are you talking about, Mr. Fry? Are you talking about Jay Johnson, the Portal King, or are you talking about Brian Kelly, the Portal King? Because we got both of them. We have all of the Portal Kings. We got Dr. Strange. We got Jay Johnson. We got Brian Kelly. I got to admit, Brian Kelly's really good at figuring out who they need, what they need, where they need it at. I'll be honest. I just think this class is just so deep, man. It's so deep with good talent. And then you got 13 guys. Guys, there will be 13 freshmen that will enroll in classes and be a part of spring practice this spring. 13 of your freshman signees. You know, I've mentioned this young man's name a lot. What happens with Deshaun Womack? You know, I mean, so many good players are going to be on the field. I think Jaylen Brown's another one of them from Miami. I think he can see some snaps. Aaron Anderson will be in town, so it's going to be fun. Ricky Constant on Facebook says, any additions or replacements for assistant coaches, LSU football? Let me, guys, remind me to get to that after the break. Remind me after the break. Let's get into that. I'll answer that because that's going to be a long-winded answer. Jason Tabor sent some stars via Super Chat. Thank you so much for doing so, Jason. Bundy says, so DeMario Tolan visited Auburn today. Woo, that's fast. No doubt this is about NIL, which to me, LSU should or get that man a deal. Well, so let me just say this. Okay. And I want to say this as Christian as I can. Sometimes you can't talk to an 18-year-old into any type of reasoning at all, ever. Young man wants to move on. The young man wants to move on. But let me just say this. And again, the people that complain about NIL at LSU are people that don't put their money where their mouths are. I promise you that. No, I promise you. You know, I hear a lot of people, behind an NIL. Oh, my vagina hurts. Oh, all that kind of stupid shit. They don't put their money where their mouth is. Multi-Cool 13 says if the Dolphins, Pooh Bear shared this with me earlier. If the Dolphins fire Mike McDaniels, why would they do that? And the Saints don't fire Dennis Allen and swoop in. Well, they can't just swoop in and get Sean Payton. They'd have to trade for him. But why are they firing Mike McDaniels? Like, guys, I will be truthful. I don't get that one. I don't get that one. I don't get it. Somebody needs to buy the Dolphins, and because the ownership of in Miami sucks. Chance Batman says you have to give Polian some credit to roster rebuild. Well, he is your recruiting coordinator technically, but he's not the one doing it. Paul Sharp says any chance there's something done about the open tampering. That was going to be a little bit of my Rufino's rants here, Paul. At some point, they got to do something. And this is why I said hiring an NCAA president that is a politician from Massachusetts, the dude doesn't know how to stop college football tampering. He just doesn't. He doesn't. Can we get somebody in a point of, guys, Mark Emmert was your school's president. He wasn't a fucking athletic director. He doesn't know the day in and day out of sport. Can we get a sports guy to be the lead of the NCAA? And look, I am sure, LSU is not innocent in tampering. I'm sure they're not. But this is for everybody. The tampering's got to stop. Robert Law says, Blake, since you're an alumni, what do you think of FHS head coach leaving after only 1 year? Robert, let me say this. What do I think about Franklin's head coach leaving after 1 year? Nana boo boo, I told you it was coming. LeCompte was at LSU with Orgeron for 1 year. Orgeron really liked LeCompte because he coaches kids at Mandeville. Orgeron had to let him go. You got to dig deeper into somebody's past. I told you so. Sometimes people don't listen. D. Smith says, but who does know about tampering stopping? Well, somebody, you know who does? Greg Sankey. If there's a chance for you to stop tampering, someone like Greg Sankey could stop it more than the freaking governor of Massachusetts. Zach, without looking it up, can you spell Massachusetts? Do it in the chat. Actually, come on screen. Zach, can you spell Massachusetts? Go.
M-A-S-S-A.
You're looking it up. You're looking it up.
H-U. I'm not looking it up.
Yes, you are. Spell it again. Start over.
M-A-S-S-A-C-H-S-E-T.
No.
S?
No.
I don't know.
Pooh Bear, can you spell Massachusetts?
Yeah.
Don't look it up. Don't you dare look it up. Don't cheat. Do not cheat.
Okay. M-A.
All right. Here are my hands. M-A-S-S-A-C-H-U-S-E-T-T-S. I think I might be right.
Ding, 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 ding. Ding, 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 ding.
My mom was an English teacher. Here are my hands. I showed you my hands. There's no typing going on. All right, let's get this thing rolling. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share. So many of you listen to us live right now on Facebook. Stop, collaborate, and listen. Hit the like and share. Share to all those social media groups. Share to your own social media pages. If you're listening to us on YouTube, like, subscribe, notification bell. If you go and subscribe to the Ruffino and Joe show, leave that comment up there. If you subscribe to the Ruffino and Joe show and AYS, so we want to get 1,000 subscribers on the Ruffino and Joe show and 5,000 on AYS, I will give somebody $200 wherever you listen to podcasts. If you're listening to us on SiriusXM or TuneIn app, go rate, review, and subscribe. Pooh Bear says, I can spell clap them cheeks, though. Okay. You have how many kids? You got what, 3 kids? I think we know that by now. 4? Okay. All right. Yeah, you definitely know. Daddy, who's clapping? Hit the break. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first to market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, B-L-E-A-V 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag. With over 65 years of experience, nobody is better equipped to service in your vehicle than GM Varnado & Sons. RV repair, big rig overhauls, motorhome chassis, routine maintenance, tire rotations, tire sales. No job is too big or too small over at GM. If you break down the side of the road in the greater Baton Rouge area, they will come and get you. And the best thing about that is that they can come and get you, and then they can bring your vehicle back to their shop and start the repairs right then. Again, GM Varnado & Sons. Go see them over at 2500 Fuller Boulevard. Give them a call at 225-664-9992. 225-664-9992. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino sit you on by. T-Bone says, take that awesome spelling to the forum. Yeah, that's true. I'll admit, I get lazy sometimes on that's my fault, but I always go back and fix it. Dylan Allen says, Blake, NFL just announced Bengals and Bills ruled no contest and will work out playoff seeding. Yeah, somebody told me, now we've been on the show, so I don't know. Somebody told me that the NFL owners will meet with one another to figure out how the seating will work. Figure it out. I mean, it's not that difficult. It's not that difficult. And look, I get the Bengals were up 7-3 and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you can't give the Bills the loss. What's good, though, is DeMar Hamlin woke up today and asked if they won the game like he thought that they were still going to play. What are y'all awesome human being. All right, let's get to this Rufino's rants very quickly. Guys, I think LSU is sitting in a prime position to be a top 5, top 17 next year. You know what's interesting about LSU and there being worries defensively, offensively, whatever it may be. You know, we argue about quarterback all the time, running back, wide receivers, O-line, D-line, special teams, whatever it may be. You know what's always interesting is when something happens, right? Like when something happens and not really necessarily the fans are complaining or what have you, but when LSU football has a need, like whether it be DB or linebacker or corner, whatever it may be, interior offensive line, LSU always goes, or Brian Kelly, let me be specific. Brian Kelly always finds a way to go and attack that need in silence. Right? Like, yeah, you get your sourcing, you go to your sports forums, you go to your message boards, sure, but it's not out there in the general public, right? Like he's not out there with his face telling you what he's going, who he's going after. Now, one of them he did, Denver Harris, that wasn't his fault. He, it was what it was. It was what it was. But LSU's always moving in silence. You know what's interesting is LSU knew, and I know this for a fact, LSU knew during the season. And the reason that they didn't run as much up-tempo as they wanted to this season with Jaden Daniels is because they were so worried about their interior defensive line when Mason Smith went down. Brian Kelly mentioned, he's like, guys, I lost probably my best defender on the first series, the first play since I was at LSU in the regular season against Florida State. I lost my best defensive player. Now, that would probably come out to be Harold Perkins, but you get his drift, the guy going into it in Mason Smith. I think if LSU can do one of two things, I think that they're a defensive lineman in the interior away, and I think that they might be a center away or what they believe, maybe an interior offensive lineman away from doing something serious. Guys, they have a very good potential of getting both, maybe within 2 weeks. Jake Renfro is out there, the center from Cincinnati we talked about last night. Justin Rogers is out there. There's other key pieces that you can go and get that, Jordan Birch entered the portal. Now, a lot of people and a lot of LSU fans are going to ask about Jordan Birch, the 5-star defensive end that was entertaining LSU a couple of years ago, went to South Carolina. Guys, I don't think he's coming here. I think that he knows where he's going. I think that, there's been too much buzz around him to Oregon. But nevertheless, I think LSU will attempt and try to kick the tires on everything. This brings me everything to this. Linebacker. I don't know if it's a smart move. I don't know if it's a smart move to move Harold Perkins in the middle, but there's not a lot of linebackers out there. What I would tell you is Orgeron used to do this a lot of times. He used to panic and rush to get somebody. LSU now doesn't rush into panic. I will tell you, hint, hint, wink, wink, don't worry about linebacker at the current moment. I think LSU will ultimately find their way and be okay there. But maybe there might need to be some help in some recruiting areas. But I think that LSU is going to be okay there. Hint, hint, wink, wink. In reference to the Rufino's rants, though, however, I really do believe LSU is going to be a top team. They're making too many moves in the portal. They're making too many moves in this freshman class. Now, somebody asked earlier, I forget who asked it, about assistant coaches leaving. Guys, if you're losing assistant coaches, you would have lost some by now. Do you remember last year? Guys, last year, actually the last 3 years, even in 19 when we were doing the show and last year and the year before, we always, at this point in time, would always be going through a coaching search. Orgeron was always going through some type of coaching search, whether it be offensive coordinator, passing game coordinator, DC. I mean, last 2 times, really the last 2 times he had to replace both of them, really. Passing game coordinator, and went and got, it was Scott Linehan. Remember Scott Linehan? Like, people forget about Scott Linehan in 2020. Unless these coaches are going to the NFL, guys, you might retain your entire staff, which in turn is something that we have not done here in a really, really, really long time. I don't know if LSU has ever really done it. Now, is there going to be a coach going to the NFL? Sure. Is LSU losing some player personnel people? You know, Patrick Hill, who helps with the defensive line. He's going to Colorado with Dion, which, by the way, Pooh, I'm going to need y'all to call Dion and tell him to calm down. The second guy he's plucked from LSU in 2 weeks. Can you tell Dion to calm the fuck down? All right. But it is two. Where are they leaving? Where are they going? I mean, a lot of people who with those rumors of Cortez Hankton look a little foolish at the current moment. So we'll see. William, yeah, I said LSU, buddy. He says, disagree here. He says Saban does that on the regular. Didn't I just say LSU? When's the last time it happened to LSU? Saban's done it before, but Saban's lost some assistant coaches. And Saban went on a really, really long run, William. A really, really long run where he was losing coordinators left and right, especially the offensive side of the ball. He would ultimately lose McElwain, then he would lose Kiffin, then he would lose. Who was after Kiffin? Wasn't it Loxley? Wasn't Loxley the OC? Loxley would go to Maryland. Then he would who was after? Oh, Brian Daboll. He would lose Brian Daboll. Then he would lose Sarkisian. Like, he's going through this a lot. Sarkisian was before Bill O'Brien. Sarkisian was the one before Bill O'Brien. I mean, he's lost, let's just say in the last 10 years, or let's just say the last 7 years, he's lost 7, technically 6 offensive coordinators in the last 7 years. Because you had Matt, well, maybe not 7. Because you had Kiffin, you had Loxley, you had Daboll, you had Sark, and then you have O'Brien. That's 5. It's a lot. That's a lot to replace. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. He lost Sark twice. That's right. He did lose because Sark went to – that's right, because Sark went to Atlanta. Did he not? He was in Atlanta. That's right. Huh. So that's 6. He lost 2 offensive coordinators in the same year. It don't matter. They won a natty. Who gives a shit? So that does happen. Pressure Williams says put Joe Fouché at middle linebacker. I don't know if Fouché has any eligibility left. I'm pretty sure Fouché doesn't have any eligibility left. And I think Pressure might be trolling a little bit. Hano says, and can we address TAMU Fanask? We talked about that on the Rufino and Joe show. William, you can go listen to that there. But we did talk about it. But getting back to the rant, I think you sit in a position where, and I was wrong. I didn't think LSU would be in the top 5. They might not be in the top 5. But if you keep adding these pieces along the defensive line, it's going to be really difficult for people to not put you in that top 7 range. It's going to be really, really difficult for you not to be there. Really, 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 really difficult not to put them in there. So as LSU goes after guys like Jake Renfro, as they go after guys like Justin Rogers and others, let's see how they can close. Poche J says Derek Williams Jr. at linebacker. Well, Derek Williams is at Texas. I don't know if they're taking a shot at Pressure for whatever reason. William Hano says, my bad, bro. Face fast. Oh, yeah. Bo Jack says, we talk about Jordan Birch. Yes, we did talk about Jordan Birch. I don't think he's coming here. All right. Let's do this really quick. We're not going the full hour here tonight because we did the other show earlier. We'll be continuing to do that and go in the full hour. Guys, let's take a very quick break, and then I'm going to bring Pooh Bear and Zach in here. We'll talk about a little bit of national champion because we will not be live. I don't think AYS-wise will be live until that game or when that game kicks off. So let's do this. Let's talk about our good friend Carol Foss over at State Farm. 45 seconds. Pooh Bear and Zach return next. Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Foss and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with the great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Foss has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. All right, so let's talk about – we need to move you on here. There you go. So let's talk, guys, really quickly about this national championship game that's going to be sponsored from our producers, so from our good friends over at Synergy Resources, synergyresllc.net. I've talked a lot about this game. I guess I'll open the floor up to y'all. How do y'all see this national championship?
Go ahead, Pooh.
I think I'm over a different mindset. I believe TCU has a really good shot. It wouldn't surprise me if they win it. I'm not picking Georgia in the points or Georgia money line. If I, as a betting person, I'm either picking TCU on the points or TCU, and I'm going to sprinkle something on the TCU money line. Georgia has been good, very good, and they, but TCU is the most battle-tested team in the country, in my opinion.
I'll say this. In week 6, I came on the show, and there was a lot of people that were questioning TCU, and I thought TCU was a good team. And they have continued to prove a lot of people wrong. And I kind of am rooting for TCU. Do I think they're going to win? No, I don't. I think Georgia's just too overpowered for them. And I think, that kind of dream season for TCU comes to end. Even, obviously they had the conference championship loss. And so the undefeated season came to an end. But, I mean, they've had a really good season. They've upset a lot of people. They've surprised a lot of people. And I do think it's going to be close, but I think ultimately Georgia's is just too overpowered for them.
Yeah. My boss Ben is in here, so I got to put on my best face.
So that's why we might cut it a little bit short tonight, guys. Ben's been a little sick.
Yeah. We've got as y'all see, Dylan's not in here. He's sick as well. But yeah. I've got. I don't know. I think Georgia's been exposed a lot.
Yeah. The only thing for me about this game, though, is I just don't like. This is easily the best team that TCU's played. It's going to be the best team that anybody's played. Okay. Mm-hmm. I just don't know if they have enough depth and enough talent to take on Georgia. I asked this to Joe earlier on our first show. Name a position group or name somewhere that TCU can exploit Georgia. So when we talk about Ohio State, I was like, well, Ohio State can beat them deep. They got the receivers. They got the quarterback. They got a decent enough running game. Mm-hmm. What does TCU have?
Well, let me ask y'all this: who's going to guard Quentin Johnson? Is it going to be Keely Ringo?
Well, I mean, maybe not, but
because I don't think
than Marvin Harrison, in my opinion.
I agree.
Marvin Harrison got knocked out of the game, so you got to be careful here.
Don't sleep on Quentin Johnson, man. He's a good wide receiver, and I think I don't know if there's a DB that can cover Quentin Johnson, to be honest. Quentin Johnson's dude, he's underrated, bro.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. So y'all both taking TCU?
No, I'm going Georgia. I'm just saying I think it's going to be a lot closer than people.
I'm taking TCU.
Okay.
I'm taking TCU. Georgia should have lost last week. I mean,
I think I would be happy if TCU won. Like, I'm not a fan. I don't know how y'all are with this. Like, a lot of people are like, because we're LSU. A lot of people are SEC. I'm not really that way. I root for the underdog a lot of times, and I would love to see TCU win. I don't want to see, a Georgia dynasty and them have this back to back. I'm rooting for TCU.
I'm sorry to tell you, you're here.
Rooting
Which
for Georgia just because they're in the SEC is like rooting for your brother to marry your sister marry your ex-wife just to keep it in the family. I don't care. I don't care. Give me TCU.
I'm not rooting for Georgia, but there comes a point where if TCU wins, I'll be happy that Georgia did not win, but there comes a point where I'm just like, at what point do you got to bet, like, not your heart and bet your head? Pause. Like in this business, I've learned well too much, and I did that. I did it with TCU this year. I thought I was betting with my head, and then I think it was just my heart didn't want to see us succeed.
Let me ask y'all this though. Let me ask y'all this: If TCU wins, is Georgia still considered this new dynasty?
Yeah, I think that you still got to put them in the realm of being a team that can be there. My point being is, think about it like this. When did Bama become a dynasty?
2011, 2012.
Okay. Well, so there was a little time before they won their second national title. So from 2009 to 2011, it took them a little bit. So what if Georgia loses and then comes back next year? Then what are you going to say?
Yeah, that's a good point.
They're not coming back next year.
I don't think they are either. All right, guys. As we end the show here tonight, because we gotta get out here because little man's not doing too well. LSU Saturday basketball. What do y'all think about the Fighting Basketball Tigers?
They've surprised me a lot. I don't know about y'all, but going into SEC play, I had like hardly any confidence, to be honest with y'all. So they're playing A&M. Do y'all know what time that is?
5:00.
Yeah, give me LSU. A&M's not a good team. They're not. LSU really, really needs to win the next two games. Very much so. A&M on the road, Florida at home. They got to win those two games because the rest of the next 6 games are going to be brutal.
I agree with that. Pooh?
We'll be talking about that on the Golden Boot as well. So
okay, sounds good.
Break that down. So
look, I got a little man. I could only pick one show tonight to really stay long. That the first one, the Ruffino and Joe show, was it. So look, we're gonna call a little bit short tonight. I'm sorry to all the listeners, but we'll be back. I might do an AYS show soon to catch back up. Until then, guys, thank y'all for being here. We just got a little sickness over here at the Ruffino household. Until then, we'll see y'all soon. Peace out, Girl Scouts.